Tonight, hot, windy and dangerous bushfire season begins with flames north of the city. Also, the heroic northern suburbs Gran, who dragged a man to safety from his burning home. More than 300,000 people pour into the city to welcome Santa to Adelaide. The Sweet Halloween act, which turned a kind-hearted boy into an internet sensation. And the race to replace David Warner in Aussie cricket's top spot becomes a little clearer.
Live from Adelaide, 7 News with Mike Smithson.
Good evening. First to breaking news, and 2 men have just been arrested, accused of using an angle grinder on a high-risk fire danger day, starting a fierce grass fire. Michaela Kamarik is there, and Michaela, it's just the second day of summer and already a real fright so close to homes.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. Hot, dry winds fanned the fire, which started on this paddock behind me here at Penfield. More than 38 fire units on the ground, supported in the air by Black Hawk water bombers and fixed-wing aircraft, fought the blaze for almost 3 hours. Burning plastic pushed thick black smoke into the path of a retirement village where 200 people live, and they were forced to evacuate. Now, paramedics treated 6 members of the public for heat exhaustion and smoke inhalation, with 3 taken to the Lyle McEwen Hospital.
I could hear the helicopters going over, and I thought, I wonder what that is. And then I got a message to say that there was a fire in the vicinity. So, it said evacuate or, put up a fight, so I evacuated.
The wind had a significant impact, and as it kept swirling, conditions changed. So we just had to work with those conditions and ensure that we can get it out as quickly and safely as possible.
Now, the cause of the fire hasn't yet been determined. Detectives are on scene collecting evidence, and it was only 2 days ago that we were warned to brace for a dangerous bushfire season. Now, Mike, the CFS says it has contained the fire behind me, but they will remain here on site overnight, mopping up the fire ground. Mike?
Thanks, Michaela. Live there at Penfield. Our Prospect grandmother's been hailed a hero for dragging an elderly man out of his burning home. The 70-year-old was left helpless when his bedroom suddenly burst into flames.
Dramatic CCTV captures the moment Ros Walsh drags her bedridden palliative care former partner out of his burning bed.
I heard him yelling out, "Help, help!" And so I've come out of my bedroom and then opened his door, and his bed's on fire with him in it.
Without hesitation, she saves Gerard's life.
I just grabbed him and got him to the floor and just dragged him out the house, and then tried to get the garden hose to see if I could try and fight it, but I couldn't breathe. I just couldn't breathe.
Half a dozen oxygen bottles in Gerard's bedroom start exploding.
I heard the first explosion, which I thought was almost like a gunshot or, a shotgun or something like that. I heard the second one, which was even louder.
Firefighters raced to the house to battle the intense blaze. They lifted Gerard off the front veranda and carried him to waiting paramedics before he was taken to hospital suffering minor burns. Sadly, Ros lost some of her precious pets.
I lost one of my dogs. I lost 4 hand-raised lorikeets. My frog, my daughter took my frog.
Neighbours have nothing but praise for Ros, whose quick thinking and bravery saved Gerard's life.
Oh, heroism. Absolute heroism. There's no doubt at all. She's sort of like the Queen of Olive Street.
You do what you have to do.
There's extensive smoke damage throughout the home, meaning it'll take time before Ros can move back in. Peter Caldecott, 7 News.
The largest crowd since COVID has lined the city streets for the annual Christmas pageant. 325,000 South Australians made the most of this morning's warm weather, welcoming Father Christmas to town.
Ringing in the silly season once again. The sounds of Christmas filling the city streets while kilometres of chalk artwork adorn the road.
A very special time of the year, special time for families. I think especially with families who have children with different abilities.
Today's event attracting the largest crowd since COVID, and the camp out to secure the best vantage point seems to start earlier every year.
We woke up at about 2:45 and we were here about 4 a.m.
You got to do it for the kids. We've been up since 4.
Do you come here for yourself or for the kids?
A little bit of both.
A time-honoured tradition that dates back to the Great Depression. 94-year-old Eileen was in the first pageant after the war. Today she was given the chance to feel young again.
I've got tears in my eyes. It's wonderful. I'm having the time of my life.
There was plenty of clowning around as old favourites were joined by this year's new floats, a nod to our state's iconic riverboats as well as our Ghana heritage.
Probably like the skateboards and the motorbikes.
Probably the clown on the bike running past.
Despite today's heat, everyone has been on their best behaviour, and for good reason too. One very special guest is about to arrive in town.
Father Christmas!
The man in red returning to where it first began, in Rundle Mall.
The people of South Australia came out and celebrated, so very happy.
And of course, no one missed out. The pageant's royal family making a special visit to the sick kids at the Women's and Children's. Jasmine Turlings, 7 News.
And it wasn't long after Santa's arrival that thousands more people marched through the city to celebrate diversity and solidarity. This year's Pride March looped around the East End and featured colourful participants from all backgrounds, including the Rainbow Bikers. A street party is expected to carry on well into the night. South Australians will have more time to find the perfect gift in the lead up to Christmas, with the government today confirming late night trading hours. Shops in the city and suburbs will be allowed to open until midnight on 3 weekdays in December, on Thursday the 19th, Friday the 20th and Monday the 23rd. Businesses can still choose to open on Sundays and Boxing Day, and workers can refuse shifts on Sundays and public holidays.
Everybody the opportunity, like myself, who leaves it to the very last minute to do their shopping, and you can get in for those 3 nights until midnight.
Shoppers will also benefit from midnight trading hours on Black Friday, November the 29th. Donald Trump has unleashed on one of his critics, suggesting she should be shot. The violent comment is being investigated as a potential death threat.
Feeling loved in ultra-marginal Wisconsin, but still feeling the heat from this comment last night.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face.
Former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney, the target of the former president's dark imagery, describing it as how dictators destroy free nations, and the vice president agrees.
This must be disqualifying. Anyone who wants to be president of the United States.
The comment is now also the focus of an Arizona investigation into whether or not it constitutes a death threat.
Liz Cheney is a disaster. All she wants to do is blow people up.
Comments about Liz Cheney won't change hearts or minds in here, but in a state where a significant number of Republican voters backed his party rival Nikki Haley in that primary process, Democrats are banking on it being a motivating factor.
What do you make of these comments that he's made about Liz Cheney overnight?
So I say Trump is Trump.
What does that mean?
He talk. That's how he talk, I guess.
Kind of a good comment, I think. I mean, if you're going to tell other people to go, I think you should go yourself, absolutely.
Both candidates blitzing battleground Wisconsin tonight. Cardi B joining Kamala Harris to rap Trump for comments on women he made this week.
His definition of protection is making sure our daughters have fewer rights than our mothers, then I don't want it!
Women now easily lead in record early voting numbers.
I think women like me, I do. I think the suburban housewives like me.
More than 66 million Americans have already had their say as the push to get the rest to the ballot box enters its final days. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, David Woywood, 7 News.
Join us tomorrow night for a special edition of Spotlight covering the race to the White House. And Seven's live coverage of the US presidential election count begins at 11:30 next Wednesday morning. Young children are among more than a dozen killed when the roof of a train station in Serbia crashed onto bystanders. The country is in mourning after what's been called one of the worst tragedies in its history.
Moments before disaster, people sit on benches outside a Serbian train station as commuters walk by. In a blink, chaos. A concrete structure at the entrance to the Novi Sad station collapses, trapping multiple victims beneath.
Tragedija.
This is a tragedy, says the Prime Minister. It is a Black Friday for us, for the entire Serbia. It happened around noon. People walking into the country's second largest train station, unaware of what's about to occur around them. For a while, it was hoped survivors lay beneath the twisted pile of concrete. We have contact with two people, the country's Interior Minister said. What you are hearing now is the work to get them out alive. But despite the heavy equipment rushed in, efforts were not successful. 14 people confirmed dead, some of them children, with the fear more bodies are trapped below. The railway station building was renovated in 2021 and again this year in order to be officially opened in July. Investigations now centring on the construction of the buildings that led to disaster and the most difficult day in Serbia's post-war history. In London, Joel Dry, 7 News.
What was supposed to be a night of fun for a Halloween party has taken a deadly turn in the US. 2 men were killed and 7 others injured when a teenager opened fire on crowds celebrating in Orlando's nightlife district. The 17-year-old suspect, Jalen Edgar, has been arrested. It's the 27th mass shooting in the state of Florida this year. An Australian woman could face up to 5 years in an Indonesian prison over an alleged theft. Bali police have released security video which they say shows 45-year-old Vanessa Cummins stealing laptops from outside a supermarket. It's alleged she left with one of them before returning for the second. The Sydney woman is yet to be charged. In a major cost of living pitch to the Albanese government has revealed it will change the way it claws back student debts. The average graduate worker can expect to save $680 a year, but concerns have been raised there'll be hidden costs in the long run.
Striding towards the election with fresh cost of living ammunition.
Well, let's rock and roll.
A plan sure to be music to the ears of uni and TAFE graduates, lower debt repayments from next July.
It's a big deal for 3 million Australians.
Currently, a person is obliged to pay student debt if they earn $54,000 or more. That will increase to $67,000 next financial year.
Sensible changes. They're also generous.
Repayments for a worker on $70,000 will drop by $1,300. A graduate on $100,000 will pay $550 less, and someone on $170,000 will be $650 better off.
More money in your pocket rather than in the government's.
7 News understands it'll cost the budget around $300 million. The average graduate will save $13 a week, enough for a sandwich and milkshake, but not inflationary.
The dollars are not big enough to be make or break.
The changes designed by the architect of HEX, economist Bruce Chapman, but the opposition is concerned lower repayments will mean longer timeframes to pay off debt.
That means more indexation and higher student debt in the long run.
7 News understands the Prime Minister will use a major speech in Adelaide tomorrow to reveal more help on student debts, but won't go as far as the Greens are calling to wipe them all.
If Anthony Albanese went to uni for free, so should everyone else.
It'd be dumb because the budget really couldn't take that.
Josh Martin, 7 News.
Labor backbenchers are privately pushing for a ban of flight upgrades on politicians' private travel. But after a week dominated by questions about Anthony Albanese's perks from Qantas, senior ministers still support the current system in place.
The key thing here is that where there's an upgrade, it needs to be declared. That there needs to be a form filled out.
The saga is expected to dominate Parliament when it resumes on Monday. A young boy's sweet Halloween gesture has gone viral on social media, catching the attention of his favourite footy team. Tayden Butterworth's show of kindness stole the hearts of thousands. He says this is just the beginning.
A good deed that hasn't gone unnoticed. 11-year-old Tayden Butterworth was trick-or-treating with his mates when he came across an empty candy bowl.
Here, I'll just leave some.
Without a second thought, he took it upon himself to give back, emptying half his stash into the bowl for others.
To make little kids happy and to make them have a good Halloween.
It caught the attention of the home's owner, who watched on her Ring doorbell camera, sharing the wholesome moment to social media, praising the young boy's kindness.
I didn't know I was going on Facebook and recording.
It's really nice that this has blown up to sort of show him what can happen when you do an act of kindness.
Despite Tayden's tough upbringing, his sister says that never stops him from finding pockets of happiness.
I don't think he realised how much a small gesture like that to him means so much to everyone else.
So much so, he's quickly become an overnight sensation, even capturing the attention of his favourite football team, the Adelaide Crows, posting online to track down the mystery boy, who assures us his Guernsey wasn't a last-minute costume. Tayden's passion for footy goes much further than his love for the Crows. He hopes to one day make a career out of it and play alongside Josh Rochelle. He's a big fan of the Crows' young gun, not that he can put it into words. And why do you love Josh?
Because he's a good player.
But he's more than happy to show off his moves.
Go the Crows!
Madison Stanley, 7 News.
What a great little guy.
Fantastic. Got the Crows jumper for the horror Halloween story. Let's go.
That's what makes him honest, Bruce, is the Crows jumper. Hey, what have you got coming up?
Well, our bloke is doing very well chasing that vacant spot as an Aussie opener. As the competition around him fell away, Nathan McSweeney top scored again as Australia A chases a win over India. And South Aussie Jamie Carr, the toast of Flemington on Derby Day, while the Golden Eagle won by an outsider on the inside. All that and plenty more coming up a little bit later.
Thanks, Abba. We'll catch you then. Well, it may be your dream to live in a multi-million-dollar mansion in North Adelaide. If money is no object, do we have the home for you next? Also, the big clean-up, Spaniards pull together as the flood death toll soars. Still ahead, our exclusive look inside the US election integrity operation. And later, why cutting back on health checks now can cost much more in the future. When money is no object, this next listing is what you can buy. Tonight on Selling SA, we took a look inside a multi-million-dollar architectural masterpiece on one of North Adelaide's most exclusive streets.
It's a grand design built to turn heads.
The idea of a home that is unlike any other home. You can't point at an example and say we just want one of those but here.
Gerald Matthews is one of the architects who helped design the Twisted Cube, completed 20 years ago.
It was a different kind of brief. It was a brief of we want something that makes our lives better.
And with that, the options were endless, spanning 4 stories of unrivalled city views, from the theatre to the not one but 2 home offices. Nothing about this home fits within a box.
The staircase right behind me was something I remember going through multiple iterations of. There was something a lot more aspirational than it's just a staircase. It's a sculpture.
And a home that's art itself needs the furnishings to match.
Right now we have an exhibition within the home from Domo, very obviously well-known furniture or high-end furniture store. They have put together a package for the entire home. It's valued around $300,000.
Then there's the underground wine cellar, which can store up to 2,500 bottles of wine. This too can be yours fully stocked for the right price. And that's just pocket money at this end of the market. The exclusive residence is expected to fetch somewhere around $7 million.
It's the location in North Adelaide, the position on Strangways Terrace with the views of the city and the fairway, and then matched with the architecture of the home. It's truly unmatched.
But I think this home is a good testament to the idea that investment in design is a good investment, but you can craft experiences that actually do stand the test of time.
Jasmine Turlings, 7 News.
Flood-ravaged Spanish citizens are meeting the once-in-a-century disaster with an extraordinary show of community spirit. Volunteers in their thousands are leading the flood clean-up effort as the death toll surges.
It's difficult to believe entire neighbourhoods look like this until you see it from a satellite. What is invisible on these streets that better resemble a swamp are the locals pulling out their possessions and police pulling out bodies. Drones searching where people, bulldozers or dinghies can't.
All my life there, all my memories, my parents lived there.
Confirming the rising death toll currently standing above 205 people. Valencia's citizens have decided the only way to recover from a flood is a flood of volunteers. Tens of thousands of residents have been making the hour-long trip back and forth from the disaster zone, armed with whatever they have for days, and there's no sign of them stopping. This footbridge has been full of marching civilians for hours, among them Carles and Elizabeth.
And you see this and it looks like literally like a movie.
They're making a 3-hour back-breaking round trip to carry water to friends. But nothing compared to the ordeal everyone here is living.
It was crazy. I mean, we could never imagine.
Humanity's best on display. And its worst. Police arresting more than 50 people for looting, investigations tying up time better spent searching. In Valencia, Ben Downey, 7 News.
Volunteers from St John Ambulance are driving across the state teaching vital life-saving CPR. They set up in the Parafield Bunnings car park this afternoon to pass on their vital skills. Tomorrow morning they'll be at the hardware giant's Mile End store, and on Monday they're off to Mount Gambier. Let's take a look at the weather now for the latest on today's burst of heat. Gertie joins us from Festival Plaza, and Gertie, a change is on the way.
It is, Smitho. It's currently still pushing across the far west, but is expected to reach the city in the early hours of tomorrow morning. And the drop in temperature will be quite significant and potentially even a little bit humid behind that change as well. In the city now, though, it's still very warm, albeit a little bit windy. The Italian Festival tonight hosting an outdoor cinema here at Festival Plaza. You can settle in and watch the movie with some traditional food too. A perfect night for gelati or perhaps a very nice cold Peroni. I'll be back with a look at what's to come next week. The weather just looking a little bit unsettled. More on that though later this hour, Smitho.
Or both. Thank you for that, Gertie. Poised to cry foul, we look inside the Trump supporters' so-called election integrity operation after the break. Also, out in the cold, the King cuts disgraced brother Andrew's purse strings. Touching down in Oz, wicked star and pop princess Ariana Grande mobbed by fans, and later cashing in on Black Friday, spreading out to spending ahead of Christmas. Returning to the US, and fears are growing across America that a new wave of cheating claims will sweep the presidential election. 7 News has been given a rare look inside the Republican Party's so-called election integrity operation, where teams backing Donald Trump are poised to cry foul if the vote count runs against them.
Headquarters for Donald Trump's Republican Party in one of America's most fiercely contested election battlegrounds, Phoenix, Arizona.
We're in a desperate situation here in the United States.
The party's boss in the country's second most populous county expects vote-rigging claims after the election.
So I'm sure there's going to be an issue regardless of who wins.
And warns the fight could spark a war in the streets.
I don't think there'll be Republicans out there, but I think there's a chance that we will have buildings burning, unfortunately.
They've already started cheating in Lancaster. They've cheated.
Distrust of America's voting safeguards is being driven from the top, just as it was when Americans last voted for president, then watched distrust explode in the very core of their democracy. Pennsylvania is cheating, Donald Trump posted this week, and getting caught at large-scale levels.
Complete and total nonsense. No factual evidence whatsoever.
Authorities in the desert city have hired Chris Cotterman as one of their troubleshooters to watch the voting system this election.
It's fair. It works like it's supposed to work.
He says when legitimate vote counting takes days, even weeks, online conspiracies flourish.
I think it depends on whether or not how much time you spend on Twitter, frankly.
And yet Republican donors are funding operations like this, a service centre harvesting feeds for more than 60 public video cameras across several states.
If it's being recorded by cameras, we've got it. Let's put it that way.
Also, the party can vet election processes.
We've become a very significant investigative arm.
One part of what Donald Trump calls his election integrity team, a promised 100,000 volunteers and lawyers to hunt for election cheating. Who knows if it really is that big? What we do know is American courts threw out more than 60 pro-Trump election rigging claims last time.
There's also been a report conclude that there was no foul play in Maricopa in 2020.
Yeah, and you know what? There's those that are willfully ignorant.
That's what this is, you think?
That's what I believe.
Republicans are supremely confident Donald Trump will win here. So if Harris takes Arizona, they're all but certain to scream foul play.
And from there, who knows where the election integrity fight will finish up.
If you're intellectually honest, nobody could believe that our elections are being run in an equitable fashion.
In Phoenix, Arizona, Tim Lester, 7 News.
King Charles has cut off his disgraced brother, Prince Andrew. It's reported His Majesty has told the Keeper of the Privy Purse to stop his $1.3 million a year living allowance as their relationship sours. The details were revealed in a re-released biography on the King 5 years after the Duke of York's disastrous Newsnight interview. A deadly blast at an apartment in Athens has killed a man and severely injured a woman. Police believe a homemade bomb was being worked on at the time. When they searched the site, they found 2 guns, bullets and mobile phones. From one Oz to another, Ariana Grande has arrived down under to promote her new film, Wicked. It brings new life to the popular Broadway musical, and the pop star hopes Australia will embrace the movie's magic in the same way.
A Sydney airport adoring of Ariana Grande. This princess of pop in pink greeting dozens of fans.
Oh my God, I love you so much. We're so excited to be here.
Straight from Tinseltown on a long flight.
It was amazing, very restful.
She's promoting the movie musical Wicked, set in the land of Oz.
The time has come. We're so grateful. We're starting in Oz. Oh my gosh. We're starting in Oz.
Grande plays Good Witch Glinda in the film. Some lifelong fans like Claudia Pace were lucky enough to snap a selfie. She flew from Brisbane all the way just to catch a glimpse.
She walked out of those doors and I instantly started bawling my eyes out. That's going to be my new wallpaper for the next forever, I think.
Ariana Grande's co-star is Cynthia Erivo, who stars as Elphaba.
You're green.
Yeah.
Everyone gets to see how much work everyone's put in.
Both now setting their sights on seeing Sydney's sights.
Is there anything you want to see?
Opera House.
Yes.
I really would like to see the Opera House.
The Opera House. And also just sharing this moment with our fans here.
Ready for the red carpet premiere tomorrow night at the State Theatre. Angelique Opie, 7 News.
Students are missing out because they can't get online at home. The drive to supply laptops up next. Also, it falls between Halloween and Christmas, the Black Friday sales frenzy. And later, what cutting down on regular health checks is really costing you. There's a growing split in schools between children who can and can't access internet-connected laptops at home. Closing this digital divide is the priority of the Smith family's Christmas appeal this year to help our most disadvantaged students.
12-year-old Maddie is about to head on a new educational adventure. She starts high school next year.
I do want to make new friends, so I will be a little bit nervous.
So too Mum Kelly, but for different reasons.
It's quite hard to try and juggle everything and doing it on my own with one income.
Recently relying on the Smith family to make ends meet.
The back to school uniforms and pencils and pens, stationeries, all that, it's been a godsend to have that little bit of help.
Today's economy means paying for school supplies is harder than ever.
Often it means that there's additional things that you need to fund for your child, including a digitally connected laptop.
Far more costly than pens and paper, electronic devices are now considered essential for high school students. Homework too can't be completed without connecting to the internet. But a quarter of Year 10 students and 40% of Year 6 students don't have access to a suitable device outside school. NAPLAN results show those who are disadvantaged can fall up to 5 years behind their peers.
And it was just lucky enough that the Smith family offers that little bit of help.
The Smith family is hoping to raise $5 million during this year's Christmas appeal. Money not just to support families financially, but also fund academic programs for children.
It's helped me a lot with transition to high school.
With the right support at the right time, young people can have an opportunity to make the most of their education and set themselves up.
To donate, head to the Smith family website. Andrew Denny, 7 News.
Retailers are slashing their prices weeks out from Black Friday. The sales tactic is designed to lure shoppers in early, spreading out their spending ahead of Christmas.
The decorations are up, Christmas is here, at least in the retail world.
It absolutely is all about Christmas.
For most of us, it's still too soon.
Have you done any Christmas shopping yet?
No, I'm a bit slack with that. I normally wait till the 1st of December and I do it all in one day.
But it might be wise to shop the sales. Black Friday is on November 29. The discounts, though, are already here.
Yes, the sales have started to trickle in.
Temple & Webster up to 50% off. Activewear label Stacks, discounts of up to 70%. Lenovo has launched early access across a range of laptops and tablets. On Amazon, you can snag the Dyson Airwrap for $600, save nearly 50% on the cordless vacuum cleaner.
In fact, we're seeing consumers this year start shopping a lot earlier just so that they can better manage their finances.
Australians who used Afterpay last year spent $1,400 each on average. 59% say this year they'll spend the same, if not more.
Almost every major retailer, even the supermarkets, will be getting involved in this mega sales weekend, competing with each other to offer the best deals.
They like to leverage the biggest moment of the year and the traffic that does come to the centre over that period.
Gearing up for a shopping surge. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
It's the cost-cutting measure causing a surge in preventable hospitalisations. From the dentist to the doctor, skipping essential appointments, but it could cost more in the long run. Don't miss that story a little later in 7 News. Cassius the crocodile, famous for being the world's largest in captivity, has died in far north Queensland. Weighing more than a tonne and measuring an incredible 5.5 metres long, the Salty called a sanctuary on Green Island home for the past 37 years. Before he was captured, Cassius lived in Finnish River in the Northern Territory, where he ate cattle and had a go at a few propellers. Yum. He was believed to be more than 110 years old, and may he rest in pieces. I don't like crocodiles. They scare me witless.
On top of the list of favourite things, no.
No, they're good for belts and shoes and stuff. But anyway, good luck, Cassius. Sorry to see you go.
Yeah, not really.
Hey, Bruce, time for sports. You can take the complaints, by the way. Nathan McSweeney is pleading his case to open the first test.
Smitho, he is doing all he can and against the field of other contenders as they fall away. Coming up after the break, we'll see how McSweeney is leading Australia A to a win and top scoring yet again. The Crows claim a top 4 spot, but it comes at the cost of injury to a star player. And Aussie Oscar Piastri on pole for tomorrow's Brazilian Grand Prix sprint. Welcome back. South Australian skipper Nathan McSweeney has put himself in the box seat to open in the first test against India in Perth. The Australia A captain is 47 not out of stumps as the other top order test hopefuls once again failed to fire.
Out for a first ball duck in the first innings, young gun Sam Constas was keen to impress, but he wouldn't want to see this again.
Oh wow, Constas has been KO'd. And maybe his test aspirations this summer have too.
Gone for just 16. Cameron Bancroft wasn't leaving them all that well either. 2 balls later.
Oh, it's a no ball as well.
He was gone not long after, bringing skipper Nathan McSweeney to the crease. Marcus Harris safe, if nothing else. He would eventually fall for 36 off 82. After top scoring in the first innings, McSweeney went about his business swiftly.
Oh, hammered, pulled away nicely by McSweeney.
Chasing 225, Australia needs 85 runs on day 4 for victory. The last man standing on the verge of a half century and a baggy green. At the MCG, the Aussie one-day side trained ahead of Monday's series opener against Pakistan. No doubting what openers Matt Short and Jake Fraser-McGurk will bring.
Fireworks. And I'm not hoping to sell, I can almost guarantee it.
Robbie Cornthwaite, 7 News.
And South Australia is well on top at stumps on day 2 of its Shield clash with Victoria at Adelaide Oval. Ben Manenti tore through the visitors' top order, taking 4 for 66. Adelaide forward Brooke Tonnon has told 7 News there's extra fire in the belly heading to another AFLW finals campaign. All-Australian Danielle Ponter's fitness will be monitored after limping from the field late in last night's win.
The Crows have a point to prove heading into finals.
We had a few losses this season, obviously, so that increases the fire a bit more.
The scene is set for a blockbuster qualifying final against the undefeated Roos. A 1-point loss in last year's prelim final ended Adelaide's season. North Melbourne has the wood over the Crows, beating them by 8 points last week.
Fire in the belly from last season. We can get the win this time. Our point was pretty close, so we had more scoring opportunities last game, so if we get the win this time, that'd be awesome.
Danielle Ponter starred with 3 goals in that clash, but will be monitored this week after limping from the ground last night.
She's like a walking highlights reel. She just pops up and does her thing. She's very elusive and can pop up for 3 or 4. So yeah, she's very handy to have. Obviously, would love to have her back.
Adelaide secured a top 4 spot and a double chance with a come from behind win over the Cats. Port Adelaide could finish as high as 6th. They host the struggling Giants tomorrow afternoon. Emily Beaton, 7 News.
It's the story of the Sixers season. Another slow start against New Zealand, trailing by 14 points at the first break, and it could have been more.
Stepping back, long two, tough shot. Kendrick Davis has no problems with it, and he gives Adelaide a shot in the arm going into quarter time.
But the deficit kept climbing, down by 28 points at three-quarter time. The Breakers' Parker Jackson-Cartwright was unstoppable with 23 points entering the last quarter. Oscar Piastri will start on pole for tomorrow's sprint race at the Brazilian Grand Prix. The Aussie sealed top spot with a rapid lap in the dying minutes of qualifying, pipping McLaren teammate and championship contender Lando Norris.
The tyres hung on, so very, very happy and excited to be starting off P1.
Charles Leclerc starts in 3rd, reigning world champion Max Verstappen in 4th. Crazy fans, famous rappers and star players partied hard in Los Angeles to celebrate the Dodgers' World Series triumph over the Yankees. Ice Cube performed to a packed-out Dodger Stadium as LA celebrated a 2nd title in 4 years.
I'm so honored to be here and to be part of this team. Congratulations, Los Angeles. Thank you, fans.
It's the Dodgers' 8th World Series title. It was a day of twists and turns for South Aussie jockey Jamie Carr at Flemington, topped off by winning the Victoria Derby. She overcame emotion and drama to come out on top on the first day of the Melbourne Cup Carnival.
The day begun under tough circumstances for Jamie Carr.
A win that means so much, another will by a length and a quarter.
A win after the passing of Colin McKenna, the owner of Another Will.
Doesn't feel real, but he carried us over the line then because these gaps weren't there and then they were there.
Then a reality check in the next race for Carr, her ride playing up, heading into the barriers, leading to a blood nose.
Jamie Carr has been stood down by the doctor, and so Hurry Curry is a late scratching.
But the best was still to come. And they're racing. The country's oldest classic delivered a golden day for Carr in the Derby.
Gold Rush Guru for South Australia with 100 to go is pulling out. It's the stronger. It's going well. And Gold Rush Guru won the Derby.
Harry the owner said, you know what, fixes breaking noses. beers, champagne. I have plenty waiting for you when you cross the line first, so I'll hold him to that.
Then it was revealed the star jockey pleaded guilty to careless riding in race 2. She'll race on Cup Day but will be suspended for Oaks and Stakes days. In Sydney, Bella Nipotina took her career earnings to over $22 million, second to only Winx, winning the $3 million Russell Balding Stakes. Lake Forest won the $10 million Golden Eagle. Tim Hipsley, 7 News.
And for tonight, that's our Sport AFLW finals about to get underway next week. Port and the Crows involved, Smitho, for the first time. Of course, Port Adelaide for the first time. The Crows, well, they happen to get the finals every year, don't they?
Well, they do.
And double chance too. Well done to them.
Is there any chance they'll play each other?
Possible.
Well, will that be a game?
A showdown final.
Gee, Bruce, we'll be at loggerheads again. Thanks, Bruce, for that. Well, from the dentist to the doctor, more Australians are skipping essential healthcare appointments. Experts are warning putting off checkups may save money now, but could be costlier in the long run.
Lying down but far from relaxed. More Australians are skipping the dentist, not just because it's uncomfortable, but to save cash. When was the last time you went to the dentist?
Probably when I was young.
Would have been within 12 months.
Within 12 months?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Maybe about 10 months.
Probably 3 years ago. I think it does cost too much, to be honest.
A decision that will bite. Nearly 90,000 Australians ended up in hospital last year for dental conditions that might have been avoided if they'd sought help sooner.
Significant treatment to replace a tooth or to restore a tooth with a crown, for example, is significantly more, often 5 times the amount of just a simple general checkup and clean.
The trend isn't limited to teeth, with a lack of available bulk billing GPs. 20% skip follow-up exams because of cost, 18% don't fill prescriptions.
In my line of work, we see the bad results of that when healthcare goes untreated.
Delaying healthcare might save money now, but in the long run, the costs, both personal and financial, could be far greater.
We're already seeing the impact of people delaying healthcare. We're seeing those ramps outside the hospitals. We're seeing those huge wait lists.
Pain that's only getting worse. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
Stay with us. Gertie's back after the break.
A significant cool change is on its way, with the temperature set to drop by around 10 degrees tomorrow. I'll have the details live from the Italian Festival.
Exclusive pictures of the moment a police officer's gun was grabbed during a violent attack. 7 News. Unstoppable.
Time for the weather now. Gertie joins us again from a pop-up cinema at Festival Plaza. Gert, what's it like outside now?
Smitho, still very warm and windy out here for tonight's screening of an Italian classic. It's all part of the Italian Festival happening here in Adelaide, one of many free events. And we do have a bit of cloud over the city at the moment. That's just taking the edge off. Tomorrow, once that change sweeps through, the drop in temperature will be significant. Tomorrow's top around 10 degrees cooler than today's. In the end, we hit a top of 33.6. Right now, it's still 32 degrees. And across the state today, those dry and gusty northerly winds made for a very warm day across the state. Temperatures up to 15 degrees above average in the far west. It reached 42 in Ceduna. A cold front is pushing across from the west and bringing that cool southwesterly change. A ridge of high pressure will move in behind it, with a trough sitting over the north. Interstate 20 for Hobart, a shower or two and 23 for Melbourne. Becoming windy in Canberra, mostly sunny and 32 for Sydney, 28 for Brisbane. Hot and partly cloudy in the far north, 37's the top for Coober Pedy, 36 for Roxby. Isolated showers further south, with early morning thunder possible across the southern agricultural area. 22 for Port Lincoln, 28 for Port Augusta, 25 for Clare, 30 for Renmark, 23 for Kingscote, cloudy and 19 for Mount Gambier. And there's a strong wind warning for the lower southeast coast. In the city, down to 14 overnight, 23 is the top with a possible early shower. On metro waters, westerly winds reaching 20 knots with seas to 1.5 metres. Looking ahead, cloud clearing in 23 Monday, reaching 31 Tuesday, mostly sunny in 29 Wednesday, a shower or two in 25 Thursday, 23 with showers possible Friday and Saturday. So looking warm in the middle of the week and cool either side, Smitho.
Thank you, Gertie, and Frank Sinatra, of course. Now let's take a look at what's coming up on Weekend Sunrise.
Tomorrow on Weekend Sunrise, how well are you ageing? The new 1-minute test you can do from home. Plus, ditching the app, the groundbreaking software finding your perfect match, and why it's not too late to book your summer adventure. Only on Weekend Sunrise from 7 a.m.
That's the news now. I'll have updates throughout the evening. See you again tomorrow night at 6, of course, but from all the Adelaide 17 for now, it's good night.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want every minute of every day, including breaking news alerts. Download the 7 News app now.